Now, next to the file browser is the library. And the library is where you're going to find all of the built-in elements, all of the things that come with Motion that you can use. You can add these things to your project. And I'm just looking right now at the generators category. And this is a group of objects that are created, elements that are basically still images or animated images that are created from within the program. And there's a whole range of these that you can use. There's also a lot more fun things, though, if you get into what we call the replicators and the particle emitters. These are complex animated effects that are based upon a small, like a single object or a number of objects that are duplicated and animated out. And so you've got just a huge range of things. And you see I'm in the replicators category, and in the sidebar here we can see there's the category of replicators, and then within that we can look at backgrounds and all these different background elements, or lower thirds, and these are going to be backgrounds that are sort of intended to be used behind a text object in the bottom third of your graphic for naming the subject of an interview or something like that. All sorts of different cool lower thirds. A category of mats, and these are going to be basically black and white images that you could use as a transparency object. You could use this to create transparency on a video, and so forth. And there's so many to go with here. I mean, there's really just a huge range of cool, fun effects. And this is just the category called replicators. Replicators tend to be sort of less organic. They're more mathematically arranged, and they're sort of that's, I guess, a good way to describe it. Even though some of them are fairly organic, like something like this one here. The difference between a replicator and a particle system, or the category called particle emitters. Particle emitters are things that are a little bit more organic. There's a whole range of categories here. We've got fauna, and these are specifically things using like feathers, or there's another one with using the feathers, the feathery effect. Very organic style, like you get the sense of wind blowing. That's using various behaviors, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. You go into the nature category, and you've got things from raindrops to bubbles to fireflies. And, of course, we can see the preview up here in the top of the window. Here's a certain kind of fog. Here's a different kind of fog. And I'm going to switch to the pyro category, and here we have a bunch of things that are sort of flamey. And one of the cool things about a lot of these, not everyone works this way, but with a lot of the little previews up here, you can click and drag around up here to see what this thing is going to look like if you animate it. If we put some animation on this particular thing, let's find a simpler one here. It's a torch there. If I drag that torch around, you can see how that's going to look when we animate it. And that's kind of a cool little preview to get a sense of not just what it looks like when it's static, but also when it's going to be moving and how that's going to affect the look of that particular preset. So all of these particle emitters and replicators, and you see there's so many. There's really just hundreds to choose from. Really kind of bizarre and fun and interesting things you can play with and you can integrate into your projects. All of these come with the software. They're all built right into the software so that you can use them just very easily just by adding them to a project. I'm just going to, let's take magic dust. I'm just going to drag that into my project here. And again, once I start playing my project, you can see it's going to take a little, it's got to render a little slowly here at first. It'll pick up speed as it goes. And I'm going to just move this into the other group there so it's on top of the letters over here. And you can see we can control that. And we can animate this effect, and we can change the color, and we can do all sorts of customization to these elements. Any of these things you see in the library category, from the generators to the particle emitters to the replicators, shapes, gradients, text styles, all sorts of cool things that you have access to. All of these, anything that's created within the program is going to be found here in the library tab.